Breaking news tonight out of Arlington, Virginia, where a house exploded and caught fire tonight. Police say a man fired a flare gun several times inside a home on North Burlington Street. You see here, video shows smoke billowing into the area. We have learned Governor Glenn Youngkin is monitoring the situation if state assistance is needed for this response. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us for DC News Now at 10 on DCW 50. I'm Chris Flanagan.
And I'm Susan Tran in for Thasmin Mahfouz. There is a heavy police and fire presence there at the scene, which is the 800 block of North Burlington Street. And they have asked drivers and everyone to avoid that area, as neighbors describe feeling their entire homes shake during this explosion. We have team coverage for you tonight. Live at the scene, we have reporters Max Marcilla as well as Marielle Carbone.
Yeah, let's start with Max Marcilla. He's been on the scene for about an hour or so now. Max, what are you learning right now? I know you're about a quarter of a mile away from the site.
Well, what we're learning is the widespread impact that the explosion had. You mentioned we're about a quarter mile away from that home, and we spoke with a neighbor right here who said that they could feel not only their house shake, but they could see the fire. They could feel the impact. She even described it as feeling as if they were under attack. We're going to show you, again, quarter mile away, but you can still see, although it has gone down in the last hour, some of the smoke from where that home is in Arlington. There is expected to be a police and fire press conference in just a matter of minutes where we are hoping to get some answers as to what happened and how it went down. But what we know so far from police confirmed is that they were attempting to serve an arrest warrant when there was someone inside the home who fired a flare gun repeatedly and the home exploded. We don't know the extent of injuries to people on that street or in that home. We do know that one officer had minor injuries but was not needed, did not need to be transported to the hospital, so that did not sound like anything severe. But we are waiting that press conference, which we are expecting in just a matter of minutes, and we'll bring that to you live here on DCW.
My roommate and I just got home and we heard like these gunshot sounding things, and we just felt really unsafe, so we went back inside and I was laying in my bed and then it felt like we got attacked.
And that was the neighbor we spoke to a few moments ago. We are expecting a police press conference, so we're going to head on over to that. We'll send it back to you guys.
Max Marcilla reporting live. Of course, once that news conference happens with Arlington Police, we will carry that for you live right here on DC News Now. Meanwhile, our Marielle Carbone continuing our live team coverage right now. And Marielle, good evening. I know you're a bit closer to the scene. I can see the crime tape behind you, closer than Max is. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you smelling out there?
Yeah, Chris, you can see that crime tape, as you mentioned. So we're up as close as we can go right now. We still don't have a great vantage point just because the way we're taped off from where this explosion happened. But just to give you an idea, this is Wilson behind us. I am looking at George Mason. We're right at that McDonald's on the corner, if you can understand where that is if you're from the area. And that explosion happened back behind us. There's some trees here, so you can't exactly see in the dark behind me, but that's where we are watching the smoke still coming up from that explosion. So right now we are just standing around with a lot of people in the neighborhood that felt that explosion, all out here just trying to get information about what happened. So what I can tell you is people were able to feel that pretty far away. We spoke to one gentleman who lives, he thinks, about a half a mile away from where the explosion happened, and he could feel it from his home. He felt like it was actually happening at his home because that is how powerful it was. So again, we're waiting to get more information, but just take a listen to how people are describing the feeling of that explosion tonight.
I could feel it. I could hear it. I've lived in that house for 50 years, okay? I've never had a sound wave shock like that. I thought something had happened on my house, there wasn't any question in my mind. I mean, it never occurred to me that something was a half a mile away.
So people we spoke to, I think, about pretty shaken up just from feeling that, but also from seeing some of the video that we were able to show you of the flames by that house, just wondering how people are in the area, neighbors, anybody in that house. So again, waiting for more information. We'll send it back to you guys right now, live in Arlington. Marielle Carbone, DC News Now.
To put the fire out.
So the suspect has not been recalled or taken or in custody?
We have not been able, because the fire is still ongoing, we have not gone onto the property yet in which the house exploded.
Do you know how many people were in the house, or if it was just that one person?
At this point, we're only aware of one individual who was inside the home.
So with the flare gun, that initial call, was that just because someone was shooting a flare gun, or was there some sort of concern that was other explosives? Just was it just because of a couple flare gun shots?
Because of the discharge of the flare gun out to the outside of the residence, individuals in the area started to report the reports of shots heard in the area. As a result, our officers responded to investigate that incident and ultimately determined the suspect had discharged the flare gun outside the residence.
Were there any previous calls for police to respond to that residence, to that address?
As I mentioned, I don't have the specifics regarding previous incidents at the residence at this point. The investigation is still very ongoing, and we're still in the preliminary of the investigation.
Would you call this a barricade situation? Is that safe to say?
During the early parts of it, after we had obtained the search warrant, we were attempting to make contact with the individual. Our SWAT team was on scene, and at that point we would determine that the incident would be a barricade because the suspect had not exited the residence.
None of your officers were able to go inside the house?
We were attempting to do the search warrant. We were attempting to make contact with the individual when shots were discharged inside the residence.
I might have missed this, but any other damage to neighboring homes, and also as of right now, any power outages or any other effects to other neighboring residences as a result of
At this point, there is no reports of damage related to the discharge of the flare. Of course, the investigation is ongoing as to whether or not there's additional impacts to the area related to the explosion.
Does the fire department expect to put out the fire tonight?
Yes, fire department expects to put out the fire tonight. As mentioned, the fire is still active. We're waiting on one of the utility companies to arrive on scene to assist in securing those utilities before we can go further into the structure to continue with extinguishment.
We understand it's a duplex. Were there any other people that were taken out of the neighboring homes as a precaution?
The fire department evacuated neighbors as a precaution, but we can only speak to the surrounding structures.
Can we get a timeline? I know around 4:45, the initial call. When did the bigger explosion happen? Do we have a more precise timeline right now?
It was after 8. I don't have the specifics of the time in which the explosion occurred, but the original call for service is about 4:45, and then the explosion happened after 8 o'clock.
Are folks being let back into their homes, into that area, or is that going to be kind of taped off until this fire is completely out?
Right now, during the extinguishment efforts, those exposure buildings are going to be taped off. As soon as the fire is brought under control and there is no threat or risk of that fire spreading to those structures, neighbors will be brought back in as the situation determines.
And how many homes would you say, were evacuated, or how many people?
I wouldn't be able to provide you a specific right now.
I want to confirm that as of right now, no fatalities have been reported.
At this point, we're still, but we have not made it into the home because the home is on fire. There have been no injuries related, no significant injuries related to our officers, and no transports to the hospital.
Any hazards? I know you guys say you're still extinguishing the fire, but any concern about hazardous materials inside, especially considering just the level of this explosion?
So as mentioned, the responders have not been able to make it into the structure, and we won't be able to determine what materials are inside until it is safe to do so.
I mean, I know it might be a little tough to speculate right now, but for an explosion this big, it seems hard to believe that this is just over a flare gun. Any sort of idea what could have made this explosion so as big as it was?
As mentioned, the fire is still ongoing. The investigators won't be able to go in and do a specific cause and origin investigation until it is safe for the investigators to go inside.
I know you mentioned the officers had minor injuries, none needed to be transported. Could you describe the nature of the injuries? Was it smoke inhalation? Was it contact with debris? Could you describe anything further?
I don't have all the specifics at this point. We really want to emphasize that this still is really in the onset of this investigation. Our officers will remain on scene with our partners at the fire department and continue this investigation. We appreciate you all coming out tonight. As additional information is available, we'll be sure to release this, but these are all the details that we have at this point in the investigation.
Got a quick question for my colleagues. Paramount on lockdown as a result of this, or no?
Not that I'm aware of, but I can follow up. Okay. Thank you all.
Are you expecting another briefing tonight?
It really depends if there's anything else at this point. The fire's still ongoing, so I'll let you guys know if it looks like we have anything, but especially before 11, probably not.